necessarily work in 24-hour shift rotations. They work in all kinds of community settings. So what eventually ended up coming back was we can get you placement that is daytime, but we can't necessarily guarantee it'll be in your city. Which, again, I can't take children out of school to go and do 6 weeks placement away. That might be fine if you didn't have kids and a family and whatnot. As it is, I didn't have an income while I'm doing this, so going and paying accommodation for somewhere else simply to do it all just became, well, I can't do that either. So what was good is I was able to go back to the university explaining what had happened with the nursing area and asking what could I do, because half a degree is worthless. I've already invested half my time. I need to finish something. What would give me the most credit with what I've already done? And they were able to work out, because I had good marks, that the medical science biotechnology stream was the one that was going to give me the best credit situation. They helped me work out it must have taken ages for them to actually work it out. They really went above and beyond to work out how I could finish in the same amount of time over 3 semesters a year and what order to do it in.
Yes.
Even though it meant some of the time I was doing, a first, a second and a third subject concurrently.
Yes.
It was all over the place. And they did really help me with, okay, we can get you over the line with this. And then with biotech major as well, they had a look at, well, practical placement, you only have to do 6 weeks. It's not like the pathology majors where you have to do 12 weeks even. So I had a really underwhelming experience with the nursing bit, who I got the impression that their view of it was, well, this inclusion policy is all very good, but I can't achieve it. And you need to pick a degree that works with that. The difficulty being I'd already started by that point, and I'd rolled over some of my learning from UQ into Central Queensland Uni because we move around a lot. So what was an underwhelming experience became very good once I got across to medical science, where the person from Inclusive Education contacts me regularly. They were the first ones to come back to me and say, do you want to change so that we can document it so that you only have exams in the afternoon if that's the better time for you to do exams? Because I have been in the situation where I've fallen asleep in the exam and the invigilators aren't allowed to interact with you. So, and you're not allowed to take medication while you're in an exam. And often I do things like, that in any other situation would be quite disruptive.
Yes.
Like needing to stand up, move around if I'm starting to, and the more stressed I am, the worse it is. But so once I got across to med science, the inclusion team really came into it a bit of a step up again and went, okay, well, we don't want you to have any more difficulty here. Let's make sure. And I went and spoke to head of biotech, who is Paul Nielsen, and made sure that there wasn't something that they were missing that was going to cause a problem. So it was, I guess, two completely different sides of the coin in terms of making the adjustments between the two courses. And I do understand for nursing that's a bit trickier than for biotech, which I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but if you're in med science, you have to find your own placement. So,
hey, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we don't get any help. So that then became a bit of a, do I tell my placement person or not? I decided that wasn't relevant information for them to have. So I didn't share that with them. But yeah, certainly with nursing, what's meant to happen and what happens within the inclusion team didn't necessarily filter down that next important step with the actual school level staff who would sort of have to implement, I suppose. But
that actually leads right into the next question, which is, do you feel that CQ University meets your expectation of inclusion?
It does, by its very what's the right word? Because of how they've set up their education programs, it's quite different to if you go to Griffith University or QT or UQ. As an on-campus student, I've had that experience, and that's quite rigid in terms of timeline, in terms of how you learn, when you learn, is often very much dictated to you. Because of the way that CQU has deliberately set up their program, that they want to be the university for online learning, that in itself is more inclusive before you even do anything else. Because people can have the option of studying wherever and whenever works for them. I was in the position when I was 20 of failing subjects because I didn't meet attendance requirement because I had 2 broken legs. And I lost on appeal as to why I couldn't attend. Whereas at CQU, who cares if you've got 2 broken legs? Even if you've got a short-term issue, and no one cares about whether you're doing your lectures at 2 o'clock in the morning on a Friday night because you work shift work, or whether you do them at 9 o'clock in the morning because that's when works for you. So that by nature is more inclusive to working with how people want to learn and when they want to learn.
I guess what I'm thinking with what you've talked about with your experience in nursing is that your experiences of inclusion with support from the INA service was very different to your experience.
Yeah. So while I've said that, and that was a major factor in picking the university, that I could move city and not have to start at a new degree or a new university, that I could finish the degree if we got moved overseas, and that I could study and complete the work without having to be somewhere at a set time.
Yes.
That if I was having a morning where my medication wasn't kicking in on time, and I just don't drive when that happens. Particularly if I'm unwell, sometimes it doesn't work straight away. So from that point of view, much better setup for it. On the other hand, the big caveat was if you're doing a degree that doesn't require a lot of external parties having to work with that. As soon as you start talking about organisations outside of Central Queensland Uni having to schedule the timetabling around that impairment, that's where it falls down. As soon as it moves outside of that zone of influence, I guess, of within the campus, it's fine. Outside of that, other organisations don't have any obligation to make life easy for me.
They actually do. They do under the anti-discrimination legislation.
Yeah, look.
But it's
and I know that's true, but in practicality, their view of it is we're already doing a bit taking on students that are actually a pain in the neck, that aren't really helpful. They're actually slowing us down. So I understand as an organisation that, and I don't even know whether they're aware when these places happen. At the time, I wasn't sure whether the person in the nursing department was even aware that there was a